And thank you to all our witnesses for your time today. Today's hearing claims to be about foreign influence, but let's be honest, this isn't serious oversight. It's a distraction, a political weapon aimed at silencing voices that disagree with Republicans. And that's not just wrong, it's unconstitutional. While Republicans spend their time manufacturing threats, real national security risks are being ignored. The president has welcomed foreign interference with open arms, accepting massive gifts, striking secret business deals, and profiting from foreign governments. That's the real danger to our democracy, and yet my Republican colleagues just turn a blind eye. Instead of gutting the IRS, illegally firing several inspectors general, and weaponizing laws like Foreign Agents Registration Act against nonprofits, we should be restoring and strengthening enforcement and closing the loopholes that allow corruption. Mr. Weissman, can you explain how Citizens United opened the floodgates for unlimited, undisclosed spending in U.S. elections, and from a national security perspective, how this has had, how has this decision created vulnerabilities that foreign actors can exploit through shell companies and 501c4 organizations?
So Citizens United in 2010 was a landmark decision changing completely the landscape of election financing. It held narrowly that corporations could spend whatever they want to influence election outcomes. It subsequently was expanded to include individuals, so super rich people also could spend whatever they want. What followed since then, but was not required by Citizens United, was a surge in what people call dark money spending, secret spending of an unlimited amount going to outside organizations, not directly to candidates, to influence election outcomes. We're at $1.9 billion in the last election cycle. Because the money is secret, we do not know how much of it is foreign. It should be zero, but we really have no way to know because of many of the kind of financial flows that colleagues on the panel have discussed today. There is an easy solution to this without overturning Citizens United. By the way, the Congress should overturn Citizens United through a constitutional amendment. There's an easy solution, which is the Disclose Act, which would require disclosure of all secret spending and would end affirmatively all foreign financing of U.S. elections.
Disclosure and transparency. Also in your testimony, it shows that the DOJ scaled back the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA, enforcement, while simultaneously threatening to weaponize it against disfavored viewpoints. How does this selective approach undermine constitutional protections? And what does it say about the majority's priorities when they ignore foreign money flowing through dark channels, but fixate on silencing domestic critics?
Well, I think there is a huge concern about the authoritarianism of this administration and its effort as part of a tapestry of authoritarian actions to clamp down and intimidate critics. In the early stages of the administration, Attorney General Bondi announced we are not going to be enforcing the Foreign Agent Registrations Act. I think, as I said, it is not unreasonable to wonder whether that's because she herself had been subjected to it and that FBI Director Kash Patel possibly should have been subjected to it but did not register under it. In any case, that was the announcement. Months later, we became a new announcement that it would be aggressively enforced in limited circumstances that are plainly designed to punish the president's political enemies. The document that established that, the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, is extraordinary in its scope of defining who it's going to target, allegedly domestic terrorists, but really political enemies, people with so-called extreme ideologies around race, gender, or immigration, people who express so-called anti-Christian views. What are the predicates for enforcement? Trespass. This presidential memorandum would have labeled a terrorist Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King.
And also in your testimony, you highlight that 501c4 dark money vehicles can be used to launder foreign funds into U.S. election affairs influence, as you referred to. What are the most common pathways by which foreign money enters through 501c4 organizations?
It's very elaborate now, sort of channeling money between entities, between shell companies, limited liability companies, into the C4s, and then on to super PACs. The C4s themselves are spending less now than they did in the early days post-Citizens United and really serving as vehicles to funnel money directly into the super PACs. But again, we really can't trace the money because we don't have disclosure. Totally solvable problem.
We need disclosure, and Congress can do that. Thank you so much for your testimony. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I now recognize Mrs. Miller for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.